Good evening, everyone. I'm Katie Bethel, and I'm the Executive Director of Move On. Move On is one of the largest progressive advocacy organizations in the country. We're a force of millions with members in every congressional district in America. And on behalf of our members and our co-hosts, the Midas Touch Network, it is my privilege to welcome you to the People's State of the Union. Some of you may know that giving a State of the Union address, or at least a report, is part of the job of the president. It's constitutionally required. So in a great shift, Donald Trump is following the law tonight. So why are we boycotting? Why are we boycotting the State of the Union? We're boycotting because we know that Donald Trump's State of the Union will bear no resemblance to what's actually happening in this country today. He will lie, distort, and ignore the real stories. He's not going to talk about the killings of innocent people. He's not going to talk about the thousands of people who are afraid every day because of ICE roaming their streets. He's not going to talk about the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, and he will not talk about the millions of people who've lost their health care on his watch. But Move On members, the millions of people who've been protesting at No Kings protests, the American people, we know the true state of our union. We've seen it and we're living it, and it is not normal. We have asked our leaders this last year, don't treat this like business as usual. Fight for us. Folks, tonight, we're coming out swinging. And we're making history with the largest organized boycott of any State of the Union ever. Behind me on this stage are members of Congress and their guests who have all personally experienced the harms of the Trump administration. They represent millions more. They represent all of us. I want to personally thank our members of Congress here tonight for your act of defiance, for breaking a norm to stand up for our values. And I want to thank our special guests who you're going to hear from tonight for your courage. You represent the best of America, and you make us all want to be brave. This moment is only possible because of people's bravery. The first boycott of the State of the Union was conducted by the founders of the Congressional Black Caucus during the Nixon administration. We honor their example. We honor the millions of patriots who've turned out over the last year in marches across this country. And we honor every person who's showed up, who's risked something, who's cared for a neighbor, even when it was safer to do nothing. That courage led the way to this moment, but we have to make sure that the road doesn't stop here. We need you, everybody joining us here on the Capitol Mall tonight, and everybody watching online. Come to the March 28th No Kings protest and stand up for this country. Before I introduce our hosts for tonight, I just want to give a special thanks to all of the people behind the scenes who helped to make tonight happen. Move On staff, the staff who serve our congressional representatives and senators here tonight, our partners, thank you so much. This is no small task to put on a historic event to fight for our country. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce you to our hosts, independent journalists Joy Reid and Katie Phang. And while they come to the stage, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being brave. And I want to thank you for being a part of building the America we can all be proud of. Thank you. Welcome.
everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Are you guys excited to be here?
Let's hear it.
And not in there?
That's right.
Come on, I am Joy Reid, host of The Joy Reid Show.
And I'm Katie Fang, host of the Katie Fang News Channel.
And we are both exes of the artist formerly known as MSNBC. We are so excited to be here. Please give one more round of applause to these
our
members
of Congress.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
They had the courage to not be here. So, Katie, the reason that I am so excited to be here is that, as we just heard from the wonderful folks at Move On and Midas Touch, please give them a round of applause.
Please.
It takes courage to stand out.
It does. And look, if you turn around and you look amongst us, it's not just the people that are here. It's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the United States and across the world that are defending democracy, but they need the courage and the bravery of our members of Congress and our electeds to make sure that democracy is defended.
Indeed. And so tonight, we are not going to hear a false state of the union. We are going to hear the true state of our union from the people who are being impacted by the policies that are taking place at the hands of someone who has demonstrated no love for the Constitution, for the truth, or for the care and concern of the American people. It's much more important to hear what people are truly facing and going through. That's what you're going to hear tonight.
The American people deserve the truth. They do not need more lies from this regime. So tonight, you are going to hear people that have been impacted directly by the bullshit of this administration.
Amen. And because I'm also a church girl.
Sorry, Joy, for my language.
Oh, no. I'm a cussing Christian, sis. It's all good. I'm a cussing Christian. But we want to start off this night by doing something that I think is so important, Katie.
Please.
And that is reclaiming the Christian voice from white Christian nationalism.
That's right.
Which not only threatens our freedom, but also threatens a very important faith throughout this world. Christianity is not what you have been sold by Project 2025. So right now, invocation, meaning we're going to invoke the spirit of freedom, liberty, and justice. Please put your hands together for the Reverend Paul Brandeis Rauschenbusch.
Thank you, Joy and Katie. Hello, everybody. Hello, America. Let me start by saying that my soul is so glad to be here with the People's State of the Union. I come to you as the president of Interfaith Alliance and as a Baptist minister with good news. We, the people, have the power. Is that good news? All across America, people of diverse faiths and beliefs are showing up, are speaking out, and are proving that love for our neighbors and commitment to our democracy will prevail against the cruelty, immorality, and authoritarianism of this administration. Let me speak plainly as an American and as a Baptist minister. The Trump administration is the most hostile to religious freedom in generations. They attack any religious leader or community not in lockstep with their political agenda. The White House, the Pentagon, the Department of Justice, and ICE have weaponized religion for their white Christian nationalist crusade, which attempts to define who is a true American, conveniently made in their own image, and relegate all the rest of us to second-class status. While President Lincoln famously prayed to be on God's side, Trump instead blasphemously boasts that God is in fact on his side. In Trump's mind, God is little more than a divine mascot for his political team. But enough about that unpopular man. Tonight, we will focus and celebrate the people of America. Tonight, we will recognize all those to whom harm has been done. But we will also give thanks for the brave witness of the faith and community leaders in Minnesota, in Chicago, in Charlotte, in Portland, and here in Washington, D.C., and in towns large and small everywhere across America who are standing up against the abuse and inhumanity of ICE. We give thanks for every single person around this country who has put their faith or values into action by resisting government-sanctioned cruelty with moral courage and solidarity with our neighbors from every background. We give thanks to God for the power and the promise of love and what Dr. King called the beloved community that is both coming and present now if we choose to make it real in our democracy. I believe we are in the midst of the next great awakening in America, a spiritual movement dedicated to creating a nation where every person has dignity and value, where every community and faith tradition is treated equally, and nobody gets left behind this time. We, the people, have the power out of many through love. May we be one. My friends, the spiritual state of our union is strong. So help us, God. Amen.
Now, y'all should be well in the spirit at this point. Is everybody in the spirit? That's what I'm talking about. That's right. We're going to call the spirit of our ancestors to make sure that we do justice on tonight. And we are going to start with one of the true fighters in the United States Senate and his very important guest. So please put your hands together for Senator Chris Murphy and
Farishte Ganjavi.
thank you.
Good evening, America. I want you first to give a big round of applause to my guest, refugee and immigrant advocate from Connecticut, Farishte Ganjavi. Speech tonight because Donald Trump is making a mockery of this great institution and he doesn't deserve an audience. I'm not at the State of the Union speech tonight because these are not normal times and Democrats have to stop behaving normally. And I'm not at the State of the Union speech tonight because you're not going to hear about the State of the Union. You are going to hear lie after lie. You are going to hear attack after attack. You are going to see grandstanding. The true State of the Union is this. This union is in crisis right now. By lawless law enforcement. Our democracy is wilting under ceaseless attack from a president who wants to be a despot. Millions of Americans are losing their health care because the president has chosen corruption to pad the pockets of his billionaire friends instead of helping average Americans. You're not going to hear any of that in that speech tonight. But by being here for the People's State of the Union, you are going to hear the real story of America, a story of an America that is under siege, but a story of America that is not going to take it, that is going to fight back and is going to reclaim this country for everything that is good and right about the United States of America. Farishte is going to talk to you tonight about the state of immigrant and refugee America. ICE is out of control. It is disappearing legal immigrants. It is tear gassing elementary schools. It is murdering American citizens. Right now, as you know, the Department of Homeland Security is shut down And I just want to be very clear with you about my position, and I think the position of many others who will stand on this stage tonight. Not one more dime for the Department of Homeland Security until they start following the law in this country. Farishteh came to this country over a decade ago, coming to the United States from a refugee camp. She told me just off stage that this is the moment. This is the reason that she came here to the United States, to speak truth to power, to explain the trials and tribulations that every immigrant, that every refugee goes through to get here, and to press this country to
The border! I stuck in the border. Go Trump! Go Trump! Hey, Murphy,
All right,
you're a
thanks, man.
scumbag.
Thanks,
You're a
man.
scumbag.
Thanks, buddy. Listen, guys, Farishteh is here to lift us up to a common purpose and to a common goal, to understand that the best of America lies in how we treat those who have arrived to this country fleeing terror and torture and desperation. We have work to do, guys. We have a mission that we need to complete. And I want you to welcome to the podium my friend, Farishteh Ganjave.
Good evening, everyone. Since arriving in the United States as a refugee in 2011, I have educated more than 7,000 refugees, especially women entering the workforce, now thriving as educator, health worker, and essential service providers, each becoming a lighthouse for others. Partnering with over 100 universities across the country and help young students launch career in embassies, public services, leadership programs, and enter to the top medical and law schools. For years, I advocated for immigration rights. I founded Elena's Light, an organization to support families in Connecticut. And I'm proud of work over the years that we did. Thank you. I'm here today, now standing next to my favorite senator, Senator Murphy, to speak with the voice I'm so proud of. Since the recent election, my phone has not stopped ringing. Mothers have called me asking if it is safe to go to my child's appointment. Women have asked if they should cancel English classes. Afghan families and many immigrant families are confused about their legal status and afraid to travel for work, even within their own states. Fear is not abstract. It is in our classrooms. It is in our clinics. It is in our homes. Families feel unstable. We are living in uncertain society these days. Because of this, advocacy in Connecticut has shifted. Organizations on the ground like ours are spending more time on Know Your Rights training Policies are shifted quickly, and we must help families with rapid response needs. Preparing families with documentation for when their family members get kidnapped, and working closely with legal and health partners to support families struggling after Trump's healthcare cuts. But as hard as we try, we cannot replace health insurance. That our elderly, our children, our people with disability can no longer access. We cannot guarantee safety or peace of mind for the worker who keep our communities running every day. This administration needs to stop separating families. Mothers, kids, and our future generation who will become our caretaker, our lawyers, our teachers, and our politicians. Our community member needs safety and peace of mind to work. Leadership matters at the federal levels. We need real leaders. We need a stable federal support for integration and mental and medical health services. And we need policies rooted in dignity and education. As families can focus on building our shared community and future. When families felt secure, they built. When mothers feel safe, they lead. When children feel stable, they dream. And when we protect our people, we strengthen the entire nation. This is not politics. This is humanity. This is America.
All right, everybody. One note, we just want to do sort of one housekeeping note. Attention all MAGA trolls. And with apologies to the pastor who gave the invocation, your bullshit is not welcome here. And to paraphrase one of my favorite actors in the world, Robert De Niro, I'm going to slightly paraphrase him. Fuck y'all. We're here to hear the truth and to hear from impacted people, not to see or hear from you. So go back and pay attention to your orange lying friend. Now, coming to the stage is one of the reasons that we are finally getting some of those files released. Everybody say, release the files. Release the files. Coming to the stage now is Pennsylvania's Fighting 12. Representative Summer Lee. She is one of the main reasons that we're getting some of those files. She's going to be reading a story from Monica Ruiz, the executive director of Casa San Jose, waiting to keep families together and reform our unjust immigration system, all while her family is now being impacted by ICE. Representative Lee.
Whew. What a start to the evening. But good evening, one way or another. I am Summer Lee, representing Pennsylvania's 12th Congressional District, and I'm proud to stand here this evening with Move On, with organizers, with workers, and with everyday people who refuse to sit quietly while our country is pushed to the brink. Right now, Donald Trump is preparing to deliver his made-up version of the State of the Union. He's going to tell a familiar story tonight, that the economy is booming, that our communities are safer, and that America is stronger than it's ever been, all because of him. but we know the truth. We're living the truth. We know the fear that our families are facing of being hunted down by ICE. We know our neighbors are working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, that their health care has been gutted and their federal jobs have been eliminated by the thousands. We know our education systems and unions are being targeted because they threaten authoritarian power and they want us fighting each other so we don't pay attention to what they're stealing from us. And I mean all of us, Democrats and Republicans and independents, young folks and old folks and Black folks, whether you're in a red or a blue state, whether you're in rural towns or factory communities, because corruption doesn't check your voter registration before it robs you. While they're terrorizing immigrant communities right now, they're cutting health care. They're gutting worker protection. They're union busting. They're handing tax breaks to billionaires and sending the bill to the rest of us. That's the con. That's the scam. And working people are done falling for it. Tonight, I was supposed to be joined by my good friend and neighbor, Monica Ruiz. Monica is a mother, a community organizer, and a powerful advocate for immigrants' rights. She was ready to bring that fight from Pittsburgh to DC to remind folks who and what she has been fighting for relentlessly. But right now, Monica's family is in crisis as it's being targeted by ICE. Her son-in-law, Victor, was followed by agents unprompted after he dropped his brother off at work. They pulled him over without cause. There was no traffic violation, no expired tag, just a man who looked brown enough to be dragged to one of the worst detention centers in the country. Meanwhile, just the other day, Monica's daughter, Adriana, just gave birth to a baby girl who is yet to meet her father because he's been locked up by this lawless agency. Victor has been in the country for 18 years. 18 years of working to build a life for himself, his loved ones, and now his new family. That is the real state of our union, where families are being torn apart and traumatized, where corporations get more say in our democracy than the people we elect, where the government would rather protect powerful people and the Epstein files than the women and the girls who were sexually abused. We live in a country where we have one reality for everyday people and another for the rich and the well-connected and the well-protected. We have to change that. We have to meet the moment with bold policies that level the playing field and deliver justice no matter how much money you have to your name. That's why earlier today, I announced that I'll be introducing articles of impeachment against Pam Bondi. Trump's DOJ continues to obstruct justice and refusing to comply with our subpoena to release the full, unredacted Epstein files. Bondi must be held accountable for that. And let's not forget, it was Trump who said it first, release the files. So we'll keep that call up no matter what, because where I come from in Western Pennsylvania, we know what it means to be abandoned by politicians who make big promises and lie and deliver nothing. We know what it's like when the factories close, when the hospitals cut services, when the schools can't afford to teach, when the corporations are given permission to poison our water, our air, and our communities without consequences. And we know that no matter what language you speak, what zip code you live in, we all feel that pain, and we are all being squeezed by the same rigged system. So when Trump points the fingers at immigrants, or trans kids, or protesters, or journalists, understand what he's doing. He's trying to make sure we never point the finger where it belongs, at the billionaires and the corporations looting our economy, robbing our people, and buying our democracy right from under us. But here's the truth that they're afraid of. Working people are waking up. Across this country, folks are organizing labor and their money. They're refusing to be silent in the face of authoritarianism. But we know fear is their weapon, but solidarity is our power. So tonight, while Trump paints his fantasy version of America, we're grounded in America, in reality, and we're building something better. In America, where we have Medicare for all, every job that pays a living wage, where no one fears being ripped away from their family. That is the America we're fighting for. And later tonight, I'll be delivering the Working Families Party response to the State of the Union, laying out exactly what it will take to build an economy and a democracy that works for all of us, not just the working few. So I'm asking you to stay engaged, stay fired up, and tune in tonight, because this is about building a movement that is big enough to defeat authoritarianism, to stand up to corporate power, and rooted in a simple belief that when working people come together across race, across geography, and across whatever lines they try to divide us by, we are unstoppable. So all power to the people, and thank you all for being with us tonight.
Well, hell yeah, that's how we do it. Coming up next, a man who doesn't suffer fools from the great state of Arizona. We've got Senator Ruben Gallego. He's going to be talking about a man by the name of Steve Gomez. Steve is a father of 3 from Gilbert, Arizona. And for the last 5 years, Steve and his family have relied on the Affordable Care Act marketplace for their insurance. But let me be clear. Because of Republicans and Donald Trump's big bullshit bill, now Steve has to decide what he's going to cut to be able to afford health care for his child. Senator Ruben Gallego.
Listen, you know how important this is? I'm from Arizona. This is cold. But let's be clear what's happening there. They want to call that the State of the Union. It is the state of denial. Because what's going to happen under that Capitol is a bunch of lies. Lies that Donald Trump, the Republicans, are going to tell us about how great this country is doing right now. But what is true, what is happening right now is that Donald Trump, the Republicans, have made this country sicker, poorer, and less secure. Sicker, poorer, and less secure. How did it start? As soon as they got in there, what did they do? They went and they cut Medicaid and they cut food stamps. Millions of Americans right now are without health care. The poorest of our country are trying to figure out how to make ends meet and how to pay for that grocery bill because they needed an extra $1 billion for their billionaire friends. And when they had whatever money they had left over, then they used it to hire the most amount of ICE agents, to have the massive amount of deportations we have now that are also targeting U.S. citizens, racial profiling Americans, arresting Latino veterans and telling them you are not part of this country and making them prove that they're Americans when nobody asked to prove our citizenship when they were sending us to war for this country. Sicker, poorer, and more secure, less secure. Let me tell you what else. Every day, every American is trying to figure out how to buy food, how to pay rent, how to pay that mortgage, how to get a car, and this president has done nothing to help that. $1,000 per average every American has to pay for his tax increases. And now the corporations are going to get all their money back. Is every American going to get a refund for the $1,000 mistake that this president did? No. Not only that, he's going to double down. He's going to say, screw you, Supreme Court. I want to do 15% tax. And guess what? All of you Americans are going to pay for it. And now we have to figure out again, how are we going to pay for our rent? How are we going to pay for electricity? How are we going to actually pay for everyday food? We are poorer because of Donald Trump and the Republicans. And let's talk about security. Let's talk about security. In 2 weeks, 2 Americans were gunned down by federal masked agents in front of our eyes, in front of your eyes. And then they try to lie to you. You saw it with your own eyes. 2 Americans expressing their First Amendment rights, and they said to you that they deserve to die. 2 Americans. 2,000 federal agents, masked federal agents, suppressing citizens in Minnesota, acting as if they're a military occupation. You do not military occupy anything in any part of this country. Those are U.S. citizens. They deserve the right to free speech. They deserve the right to say there's something wrong in my community, and they deserve the right to protect themselves and say, I will not stand for this. I will evoke my First Amendment rights and get out of my city. Let's be clear. No matter what they say, they are going to lie to you. And I'm not saying this just because I'm just another politician. I'm telling you because I have heard it. We talked about Steve Gomez. Steve Gomez wanted to do everything he could not to have to accept subsidies for his kids. He wants to provide. He wants to continue to have his personal business. He wants to be a responsible citizen. Now he has to make that decision. He has to make a decision right now. Will I continue to pay for this very expensive health care, or will I gamble? Will I pay for my health care, or will I pay the mortgage? That decision was forced upon him by an uncaring Republican administration, by an uncaring Trump, who only wants to find more and more money to give more and more tax cuts to the richest of the country that do not need it right now. They're making us sicker, poorer, and less secure. Let's change that, America. We are better than what is under that capital right now. We can make this country, again, the best country in the world, where everyone is richer, where everyone is more secure, and we are proud of everyday work that we can say that America is getting better, will be better, and will one day be the best. Thank you so much. Stay in the fight.
All right, y'all okay? You doing all right? How many of you remember Kilmar Abrego Garcia? How many of you guys remember Kilmar? Wave your hand if you remember him. Well, coming to the stage is the man who had the courage, the cojones to go and find him at CCOT. And, oh, look at that. My fans are back. What I always say is, you know who I am, and I don't know who you are. That means you're a fan, you're a fan, you're a fan, you're a fan. Go ahead and keep on standing me. Keep on standing me, because I don't know who the hell you are, but you know me. Hallelujah. Keep on being my fan. Coming to the stage is the great Chris Van Hollen, Senator Chris Van Hollen of the great state of Maryland. He'll be joined by Jenna Norton, a public health scientist focused on health equity and data standards to improve health outcomes in kidney and urologic diseases. She was a lead organizer of the Bethesda Declaration, a whistleblower letter to the NIH director and members of Congress detailing this harm. In November 2025, she was placed on retaliatory administrative leave. So you're going to want to give her a major round of applause. Senator Van Hollen.
Hello, American patriots all. We are gathered here in this place because we love our country. And we know that our democracy is not on automatic pilot. And we know that we, the people, must mobilize to save it. Are you out here to save our democracy? And you're going to hear from a moment from my guest, who is a research scientist at NIH, who was able to stand up and speak truth to power. And you're going to hear her tonight tell that story. Thank you for being here, Dr. Norton. Now, we know the state of our union. We know it is under attack from a lawless president who is shredding our Constitution and who is attacking our democracy. A president whose private ICE army executes Americans and then calls the victims domestic terrorists. That is what Donald Trump and his administration said. We are here because we know our country is being robbed by the most corrupt president in American history, who's exploiting the Oval Office to enrich himself, his families, and his billionaire buddies. A president who continues to hide portions of the Epstein files from both the survivors and the American people. When are they going to release the files? A president who wants to erase our history. Are we going to let him erase America's history? A president who promised that on day one, he would bring down the costs. But instead, ever since he was sworn in, we've seen prices and costs go up on the American people, even as he refuses to extend tax cuts, tax credits that help people afford their health care. We have a president who seeks not to build a more perfect union, but one who wants to tear it down. And a president who said he would stop wars, but instead is responsible for war crimes and, as we speak, is threatening more wars. We need to stop him. We are gathered here because we know that we cannot pretend that any of this is normal, and that we will not and must not pretend that this is business as usual. We must get in the way of Donald Trump's march toward fascism. We cannot take our country down that road. And what Donald Trump wants to do is what we know all bullies do, all dictators do. He wants to intimidate all of us. He wants us to sit obediently and quietly while he lies and lies and lies to the American people. In other words, he wants us to shut up and sit down. So I have a question for all of you patriots. Are you going to shut up? Hell no. Are you going to sit down? Hell no. We're not going to stand down. We're going to stand up just like the people in Minneapolis who have taken to the streets, who are blowing the whistle to protect their neighbors and to protect our Constitution, and who are getting in the way of the president's efforts to tear down our country. Now, look, we know Donald Trump is unpopular, and we know he knows he's unpopular. So tonight, right up that hill in the United States Capitol, he's going to pretend that he really wants to help working Americans. He's going to pretend that he does want to bring down those prices. And we know that that is not what he wants, because just a few weeks ago, when we talked about the affordability crisis, he said that was a big hoax. Do you remember? He said that was a hoax. Well, it's real. And we all need to make sure that we put forward ideas to deal with it. So in my view, it's not enough that we hold the line against Donald Trump. We must do. But let's face it, we also need to show the American people that we are willing to stand up and fight against big corporate special interests to the benefit of all of the American people. Are we going to do that together? Because we need to make sure that we unrig a tax code that right now favors people who make money off of money over people who earn a check through their hard work. Are we going to change that? We need to make sure that all of you don't pay high electric bills, so data centers that are owned by the richest corporations on the planet can make more money. Are we going to make sure that your electricity bills don't go up for them? And we need to make sure that big oil and the biggest polluters don't pass on the check to all of us, because polluters should pay. And we need to make sure that big tech doesn't write all the rules, that we write the rules, and we make sure that AI doesn't strip Americans of the dignity of work. Are we going to do that? And we're going to make sure they can't snuff out the light on the Statue of Liberty. Are we right about that, my fellow Americans? So look, we have a lot of work to do. And I'm often asked by people, when's the cavalry coming? Where are they? And my message to you, and you know this because you're here, is you are the cavalry. You are we the people. I know all of you remember that right after he was sworn in, Donald Trump began his unlawful assault on hardworking federal employees who work every day to deliver services to the American people. You remember he brought in Elon Musk, who took out his chainsaw not to make government more efficient, but to rig the government in favor of billionaires like him. One of the people who stood up and spoke out was Dr. Jenna Norton, a career public health researcher at the National Institutes of Health. Dr. Norton blew the whistle on the outrageous actions that threaten the health and well-being of the American people. And she has been retaliated against because she was willing to stand up and tell the truth. But here's what we all know. When the history of this moment is written, the politicians and the law firms and the universities and the corporations who appease the bullies will be exposed as the cowards they are. And the people who are standing up to save our democracy, like all of you gathered here today, and people like Dr. Norton, they will be remembered as those who preserved our Constitution and our democracy. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Dr. Jenna Norton.
Thank you, Senator Van Hollen. I'm so honored to be here today, speaking up with so many other brave people in my personal capacity. As Senator Van Hollen noted, in November of 2025, I was placed on administrative leave from the job that I loved at the National Institutes of Health because I blew the whistle on the wrongdoing that I saw there. The Trump administration put research participants and public health at risk by Is that better? So, thank you, Senator Van Hollen, and thank you for letting me know that you couldn't hear me. I am very honored to be here today with all of the brave folks who have been speaking up, and I am here in my personal capacity. So as Senator Van Hollen noted, I was placed on administrative leave in November of last year because I spoke up about the wrongdoing that I was seeing in a job that I used to love at the National Institutes of Health until it was fundamentally changed. The Trump administration put research participants and public health at risk when they abruptly terminated NIH studies. By halting these studies, they also wasted taxpayer resources. When you halt a study, a 5-year study, a $5 million study, 4 years in, you don't save $1 million, you waste $4 million. And they continue to this day to censor research in violation of the courts, erasing people from science who don't fit their vision. Black people, Hispanic people, immigrants, LGBTQ+ people, all Americans who deserve to have their unique research needs addressed. They are creating a science that serves the few instead of a science that serves all of us. When this began, I knew that speaking up was my right, but I also believed that it was my duty. I first spoke up inside the National Institutes of Health, but when my concerns were not addressed by leadership at NIH, I felt that I had no choice but to join with hundreds of my colleagues at NIH to take those concerns to the public. Tonight, you are hearing from those most affected by the Trump administration. But civil servants like me are not the only ones affected. The lawlessness at the National Institutes of Health affects all of us. Last year, the Trump administration funded 24% fewer new research studies with about the same amount of money. That means fewer future cures for all of us. The Trump administration also funded 20% fewer early career researchers, creating a brain drain that will damage our economy and end American leadership in science exploration as our best and our brightest seek positions abroad. The Trump administration tried to silence us by putting me and other federal employees who have spoken up on retaliatory administrative leave. They do not want you to know how they are destroying your government, our government. But we will not stop speaking up. Let's get loud together. This is our country, and when we come together, we are powerful. Thank you.
That's exactly what we need to be hearing tonight. Coming up next, we have a congressman from the state of Texas who's the chair of the Democratic Congressional Progressive Caucus. These days, people look at the word progressive and they think it means something, but it's not. What it is every basic human thing that we all deserve, we should get it. That means affordable health care. That means due process. That means basic human civil rights. Congressman Greg Casar from the state of Texas is here with a woman by the name of Jill Cordick. Jill is a retiree from last year. Her premiums used to be $75 a month, courtesy of the enhanced premium tax credits. But again, the Republicans and Donald Trump with the big bullshit bill didn't care about those enhanced tax credits and said, we're not giving it to Americans anymore. So now Jill's premiums have increased tenfold this year. So now it costs $800 a month for $9,600 a year for health care. Please welcome Congressman Greg Casar and Jill Cordick.
Buenas noches, Washington, D.C. How are we doing tonight? I'm not in the Capitol building tonight because I have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. For an hour or 2 or 3 or 4, a man who's made $4 billion off of being president is going to lecture you, the American people, about how good you have it. A man who is building himself a golden ballroom is going to tell you that if you're struggling to get by, that's your fault because he's killing it. A man who flies around in a $400 million palace in the sky is going to tell you how good the economy actually is. He's going to tell us that the State of the Union is strong. Strong for who? Donald Trump and his billionaire donors' bottom line might be strong. The Epstein class certainly is going strong. But the state of our union is about all of us. And everyone but Donald Trump's rich friends know that it's a disaster. Our union is not strong when millions of folks like Jill are seeing their health care premiums go up 2 times, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times higher. Our union is not strong when Americans fear they could be killed or taken by masked agents in our streets. And now the latest news is that Trump is going to talk about in his speech tonight another tax cut for the richest people in this country and for big corporations. 17 million Americans are already paying for Donald Trump's last billionaire tax cut by losing their health care. Do we need another one? Read my lips. No new billionaire tax cuts. It's time for them to pay their fair share so that every man, woman, and child in this country can have a job that pays a living wage and affordable child care and health care as a basic human right for every single person. And while we're at it, we should get big money out of politics so that both parties answer to the people and not to the billionaires. Not another cent to the billionaire class, not another cent to the Epstein class. We will fight this Trump proposal tonight, tooth and nail, and we will make sure that the Republicans that vote for it lose their jobs. What do y'all say? Yo, we don't need to hear what Donald Trump says tonight because we see what he does. He steals from working Americans to give to the rich. Donald Trump doesn't owe us a 2-hour rambling speech. He owes the American people their money back.
Looks very different today. So now I find myself, shopping a little different at the grocery store. I'm in Iowa, so yes, we do layer up and use blankets, all in an attempt not to raise my heat bill. And honestly, I am making choices to defer health care, just all in, great fiscal caution, as I'm looking at least a $10,000 deductible. There are millions of Americans that are affected by the loss of the ACA credits. In Iowa specifically, there are around 100,000. 13,000 have opted not to sign up and be in the marketplace this year. That's 13,000 Iowans trying to navigate the healthcare systems without coverage. This isn't abstract. These are real policy choices, errant policy choices, and they're harming real people like me. And these intentions and the intentions here that these leaders are these guys are supposed to be representing us. Too many syllables here. Yet, and they continue to disappoint us. They've just shown us, the Republicans and Donald Trump, how out of touch they are with real Americans. So when they choose tax breaks for the wealthy over affordability, that dastardly word that Donald doesn't like, affordability for Americans, they're turning their very back on the people that they are supposed to be representing. So thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up tonight.
Thank you, Jill. Let's hear it for Jill. Let's hear it for each of you guys. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Y'all good? Y'all doing good? You doing okay? All right, wonderful. Coming to the stage. Now, this is going to be an incredible tag team. This is a dynamic duo. All of these have been dynamic duos tonight. But coming to the stage right now, you're about to get a powerful message about change and hope and possibility. From California's Fighting 42. Yeah. Representative Robert Garcia, and joining Representative Garcia is the Kelly Robinson, Executive Director of Human Rights Campaign. She is the 9th president of HRC and the first Black queer woman to lead the largest LGBTQ+ civil rights organization in the United States. Give it up for Representative Garcia and Kelly Robinson.
Hey everyone, how are we doing tonight? It is so great for both Kelly and I to be here with all of you, two proud members of the LGBTQ+ community who are proud to be standing tonight with the people at the People's State of the Union. The single most powerful moment tonight is going to be when Donald Trump has to look up at the gallery of the U.S. House and see the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein looking straight back at him, demanding justice, demanding truth, and demanding accountability. we should be crystal clear about right now what is happening in our country. We have a president who is leading the single largest government cover-up in modern history. We have the single largest sex trafficking ring in modern history right now being covered up by Donald Trump and Pam Bondi in the Department of Justice. Why are we protecting powerful, wealthy men who have abused and raped women and children in this country? Why is our government protecting these men? At this very moment, in my place at the Capitol is a woman named Annie Farmer. Annie and her sister Maria both endured horrific abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. As we move forward in this investigation, always center the survivors. We are going to get justice for the survivors. And Donald Trump may call this investigation a hoax. He may try to deflect our work, but our message to him is very clear that our investigation is just getting started. And we will get justice for these survivors. And tonight I am proud to be here with a true champion of equality, because at this very moment, not only has HRC and Kelly stood up for survivors and the victims of abuse, but they stand up for our community, for gay people, for trans people, for queer people that are being attacked and whose rights are being moved back every single day. So it is give a big welcome, and it's proud. I'm proud to be here with the amazing Kelly Robinson.
Yes, yes. One more time for Congressman Garcia, y'all. Can we thank him for being out here with us for the People's State of the Union and not in there with those lies? Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. This is what leadership looks like. This is what queer leadership looks like, too, okay? I'm Kelly Robinson. I'm proud to be president of the Human Rights Campaign. We are the largest LGBTQ+ civil rights organization in the world, 3.6 million members strong and fighting every day. But today, I'm here for the people who are in same-sex marriages that are worried about their families. I'm here for the parents that are tossing and turning at night over the safety of their queer youth. I'm here for every trans kid that just wants to feel seen, valued, and loved. I'm here for every trans person that's been kicked out of our military and every person living with HIV that's denied their PrEP medication. I'm here for our community tonight. Because I gotta remind this country that lesbian, gay, bi, trans, and queer people, we've always been here and we're not going anywhere. This is our country too. This is our country too. We have paid for it in funerals, in freedom songs, in court cases, in classroom battles. When I say this is our country, I'm saying it with my whole chest. And once again, we are here to defend what is ours. Because my friends, these are not ordinary times. There's nothing ordinary about this president removing the pride flag from Stonewall. There's nothing ordinary about them cutting billions of dollars from HIV prevention and throwing it into building more ICE detention facilities. We need health care. We need food. We don't need mass incarceration. And there's certainly nothing ordinary about this government murdering United States citizens. Renee Good should still be alive. Alex Preddy should still be alive. Ruben Ray Martinez, Dr. Linda, Keith Porter Jr., and all the other people who have died in ICE custody should still be alive. These right here are serious times that require serious leadership. And if that leadership isn't going to come from the White House, it's sure as hell going to come from people like us, gathered like this to create change and fight for freedom and not give up on our country. Isn't that right? So I want to say this. I pray that one day my children will grow up in a world where they feel just as safe surrounded by the American flag as they do when they are surrounded by pride flags. And the only way that that day will come is if we show out and vote this November. If we talk to our neighbors about things that matter. If we don't give up on one another and don't give up on this country. And I'm reminded by the words of the great Ella Baker, y'all. She said, "We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest." And I'm not going to rest while our immigrant neighbors are under attack. I'm not going to rest while they keep coming for our queer and trans youth. I'm not going to rest while they try to unravel our democracy. Are you going to rest? Are you going to fight? Are you going to vote? Then let's do the work and let's get free, y'all.
I feel like she needs some walk-off music after that. Damn. So, a DJ. You need a DJ? Alrighty. So, we all know that the convicted felon Donald Trump thought that he could test certain cities to see if they were made of the metal to crumble. One of the cities he's picked was Portland, Oregon. And Portland said, "Hell no, ICE gotta go." Portland also said, "Hell no, National Guard is not going to happen here." Federal judges told this administration no. And what did Trump do? He called for their impeachment. He doesn't believe in the rule of law. But Senator Jeff Merkley is here to let us know and to let all of you know that the rule of law is still alive and well. He's joined tonight by Nafisa Faye, Washington County Commissioner who made history as the first immigrant and refugee, the first Black and the first Muslim commissioner in that county. She is outspoken because ICE and Trump's secret police are terrorizing our communities. Let's hear it for Senator Merkley and Nafisa Faye.
How y'all doing tonight? You know, Kelly Robinson, who just spoke from HRC, how about another hand of applause for her work leading the equality movement? And how about this? How about we pass the Equality Act so discrimination and bigotry is eliminated across the United States of America? Now, if the president was telling the truth tonight, he'd be saying, "Well, here I am 1 year in, and you know what I've done over the last year? Made the billionaires a lot richer and everyone else sicker and poorer." Is that the kind of America we want? You know, it's pretty incredible to see really the damage that can be done by a leader like Donald Trump. And part of that damage is undermining the very core of our Constitution, the checks and balances of our Constitution. And he has really had a 10-part plan to be able to do that. And one of those parts of the plan, an incredibly dangerous plan, are troops in the street. It means federalizing the National Guard. So we're going to stop that. It means he wants to send the military out and surround the polling place in November. Are we going to allow that to happen? It means ICE operating as secret police. And I can tell you this, I never thought we'd see secret police here in the United States of America. I mean, you read about it at some other country about people who have no badges. They show up in an unmarked van. They have no judicial warrant. They knock down the doors. They grab people out of the house. They grab people out of the car. They proceed to disappear them. They don't let them reach an attorney. They don't let them reach family. Folks, we have secret police right now in the United States of America, and we've got to end it. And perhaps the most dangerous part of his 10-part plan is rigging the next election. Have you heard about this thing called the SAVE Act? What he means by save is he wants to save his authoritarian control and turn the presidency into a kingship. We're going to let that happen? Yeah, the SAVE Act would say, well, we're going to take folks who generally might vote for the blue side and make it hard to register to vote. We're going to make it hard to actually vote. We're going to make it hard to do vote by mail. We're going to make it hard for women who have changed their name when they got married, or men who changed their name when they got married, doesn't match their birth certificate, make it difficult for them to vote. You know what? I think if you really believe in the Constitution of the United States of America, you want every single citizen to be at the ballot and able to cast their vote for how the direction of this country goes. So tonight, I am really pleased to introduce my guest, Nafisa Faye. Nafisa has broken a lot of boundaries. She came to the United States of America as a Somali refugee. She became a leader in her community, not just her Somali community, but her Washington County community. She proceeded to get elected to the county commission and to be a real fighter for the fundamentals for families to thrive, for health care, for housing, for education, for good paying jobs. And you know what? I want to say this. When the president and his team attack any group resident in the United States, let's stand by their side. When he attacks our Muslim Americans, let's stand with our Muslim Americans. When he attacks our Hispanic Americans, let's stand with our Hispanic Americans. When he attacks our Somali Americans, let's stand with our Somali Americans. Together, we are virtually all immigrants. Let's together make this nation stronger, embrace each other's talents. I say hell yes to diversity. I say hell yes to equity. I say hell yes to inclusion. And here is a champion doing the hard work at the county level, Nafisa Faye. Let's give her a big welcome.
I think the senator started a trend, so I'm just going to hold the mic as well. Hello, everyone. I think the secret is out. I am from Somalia, but don't share that with Donald Trump. My state had enough of him, so my name is Nafisa Faye, and I serve as a Washington County Commissioner in Washington County, Oregon. I'm honored to be here in Washington, D.C., because policies passed in D.C. have real consequences for the people I represent back home in Oregon. I want to thank Senator Jeff Merkley for inviting me and for standing with communities in Oregon. In Washington County, residents are directly impacted every day. Man, DC, I thought Oregon was really cold, but DC is super cold. I tell you. It's been a while since I've been in Somalia, so I should be used to the cold weather, but DC is really cold. In Washington County, residents are directly impacted every day by the actions of ICE. But because we have leaders who are willing to listen and act, our residents are also empowered to speak up and even take ICE to court and prevail. How many of you? That's what happened when Victor Cruz, when ICE wrongfully detained him in Oregon. He didn't stay silent. With legal support and community backing, he challenged that detention in court and won. His case didn't just change his life, it improved protection for others in Oregon as well. And then there is Paulino Martin San Pedro. After being detained by ICE, he became seriously ill, was deported, and later died in Mexico. His family and community are still living with that loss. His story is a painful reminder of the human cost when enforcement ignores dignity and due process. These stories matter because they show what's at stake and what's possible. With leaders and leadership like yours, Senator Merkley, residents are empowered to seek justice, and we are called to ensure tragedies like Paulino are never repeated. Thank you for this opportunity and for giving us a voice and for being here today. Thank you.
Nafisa, thank you so much. Thank you, Patriots. Let's save our republic. That's our mission. Let's get it done.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, y'all. Thank you. You don't have to miss me. Just go ahead and subscribe at thejoyreadshow.com. No need to miss me at all. Now, we know that the great state of Minnesota has given us really the human image of the carnage of the Epstein class, the ICE domestic terrorism against American people, and the ruthlessness and cruelty of this regime. It's given us the face of Alex Preddy, of Renee Nicole Good, of that sweet little baby in his little blue hat being taken from school, Liam Conejo Ramos. That is the image right now that this regime will have to take into history. But the other image that will go into history is the resilience of Minneapolis, the resilience of the people of Minnesota, the resilience of Ilhan Omar facing somebody trying to rush her on stage and being ready to throw hands. Don't come for her if she has not called you. The resilience and the kindness, the interfaith, interracial kindness and resilience of Minneapolis, of Minnesota will live on into history. And that is a sign of great leadership and great community. So I am so pleased right now to bring you one of the great ladies of the state of Minnesota, their Senator Tina Smith. And she will be joined by Brenda Lewis, who is the superintendent of Fridley Public Schools. She's been working tirelessly to protect Fridley students and their families during the ongoing ICE search in Minnesota. Give them a Minnesota level round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you to Move On and to Midas Touch and everyone, but especially thank you to the activists and the organizers that are here today. This is what a pro-democracy movement looks like. Look around. And back behind me here is the United States Capitol. And inside that Capitol, I gotta say, I'm so glad I am out here with all of you instead of inside that Capitol right now. Inside the Capitol, Donald Trump is lying about the state of this nation. He is using division to drive us apart, to make us think that we are not one nation, one community. And that is why we are all gathered here today, because we are against the chaos and the corruption that he is spouting back there in that most precious capital of ours. But tonight we are outside, and I'm here to tell you this feels like resistance weather to me. Because we want to tell the real story about what is happening in this country, what is really, really going on. And we're here to offer an alternative that is not about sticking up for the billionaires. It is about fighting for the working, the hard-working people in this country. And that is why I am so grateful to be here with my special guest today, Brenda Lewis. Give it up, Tal. Thank you, Brenda, for being here. Brenda is an educator. She was the superintendent of the Fridley Public Schools. This is a district of about 2,800 students. It is very, very diverse. It's a suburb of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And when ICE came to Minnesota, Brenda sprang into action. I'm here to tell you folks, she is a badass. Now you've seen the searing images of what has happened in my state, in our country. People who have been arrested and detained and assaulted. The killing of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. You have seen the searing images of Liam Conejo Ramos and his dad ripped away from their home and sent off to Texas for no reason at all. But I'm here to tell you that what you see in the pictures is what's really happening is so much worse than that. Because once you get past the incredible documentation that is happening by these eyewitness accounts in small towns all across Minnesota, this same thing is happening. Restaurants and people have lost their livelihoods because of this secret police that has attacked our state. Families are torn apart and they will never be put back together again. The pain and the suffering and the damage is going to last for a very, very long time. And this is what Donald Trump and Kristi Noem are doing to us right now. But we have seen something else in Minnesota. When they brought guns, we had whistles. People came out in their neighborhood and they stuck up for people that they didn't even know. They brought diapers and they helped get prescriptions to families. They gathered together just out of the pure love of their neighbors, even the neighbors that they did not know. And when ICE came and started circling around schools and terrorizing families, people like Brenda stood up and fought for their kids because she knew that her most important job was to keep those kiddos safe. And so I want you all to thank Brenda for everything that she has done. I want to invite her up to talk about what it has really been like in Minnesota. So Brenda, can you tell us what happened? When did you first realize that this was happening with ICE and that you were going to have to spring into action?
Sure. I first realized this in December when the temporary order was put through on our Somali families, and we were told, let's watch our attendance, and our attendance immediately dropped. Then the day after the Renee Good murder, we had more than a third of our students absent, and that's when it began. And at that time, we thought we had seen the worst. And I'm about to share with you tonight a story that happened that covers a 10-minute period of time on a morning. I woke up that morning a little bit optimistic, and we learned that 700 ICE agents were leaving Minnesota immediately. Little glimmer of hope. Our second glimmer of hope, our lawsuit to keep ICE out of Minnesota schools, was trending really well in the media. That morning on patrol, all of a sudden, I got a call saying there are 6 vehicles up and down, up and down, up and down, right outside of one of our elementary schools. They were then in a roundabout preventing our children from crossing to come to school. They were yelling and screaming at our crossing guards. Then our principal was trying to help and trying to keep our students safe. And 4 ICE agents posing as press with orange upper bicep bands were yelling and screaming at her and videoing her. Then a mother was followed who is legally in the United States by 2 vehicles full of ICE agents, and she had to pull into our school so that she wouldn't be hurt. A board member was followed by ICE agents with a 3-year-old in the back of her car. This is just a 10-minute period
one day.
on one morning at an elementary school welcome.
So think about that. Brenda and her educators should be figuring out how our children can be learning. And instead, they are pressed into this relentless effort to keep our children safe. But I want you to think, as I wrap here, about where the power is right now. The power is with people like Brenda. The power is with people like you and people like you all over this country. The power does not come from the United States Capitol. The power comes to the United States Capitol from all of you. And that is the work that we have ahead of us. That is the work before us. So thank you all so very, very much for being here to talk about what the people want to see in this country right now. And it is not what Donald Trump is talking about right behind us. So thank you all so very, very much. Thank you.
The Twin Love you guys too. All righty. Love you. Okay. Get it. I don't know how to do this. So, not everybody gets to be from the amazing place called New Jersey. But they do have some pretty cool people like Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman. You know what she just did? She just introduced legislation to stop the bullshit of immigration arrests while people are going to court. Right? Because it never was about getting the quote unquote illegal aliens. It was never about getting the quote unquote criminal element out. It was making sure that we got rid of the people that didn't look like us. And that is what this administration is all about. So Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman says we're not doing that anymore in our courthouses. She's joined today by Nydia Morsi, the director of Make the Road New Jersey, one of the most fantastic community organizations in the state of New Jersey that is focusing on our communities of color. Please welcome them to the stage now.
I'm a black woman. I'm here with an Egyptian Peruvian woman. We're America. We belong here. This is our country. This is a government of, by, and for the people, and Minneapolis showed us what happens when the people say no more. I am here because I will not be there listening to lies. Lies about what he thought he did, lies about what he's doing now, and lies about what he's going to promise in the future. We're entitled to safety, security, jobs, housing, and health care. And we demand that anybody that works for the United States government does so constitutionally and legally. So I got a special guest tonight for you because they're gearing up in New Jersey now. But New Jersey is gearing up for ICE. We want you to know that we're going to be ready when you come here. So you think you saw something in Minneapolis, you come to New Jersey. We may be small, but we're freaking mighty. I want to give Nydia an opportunity to talk to you about how we organize, get ready, and take care of one another. Give her a big round of applause so she's encouraged to come before you.
I'm going to ask if folks can repeat after me. I am somebody. And I deserve full equality here and now. With your chest. I am somebody and I deserve full equality here and now. First, thank you to Congresswoman for the invitation tonight. Thank you for your service, a powerful example of a woman grounded in her purpose. My name is Nydia Morsi, and I'm the director of Make the Road Action New Jersey. And I'm here tonight on behalf of our nearly 7,000 working class and immigrant members across the beautiful state of New Jersey. This administration is one of the most violent and dangerous this country has ever seen. It was the Sunday after the inauguration around 10 o'clock in the morning when we had begun to receive calls from members further down on South Broad Street in Elizabeth, New Jersey, that ICE was knocking doors and entering businesses. I remember when I got to South Broad, it was a ghost town. The bodega was closed. The T-Mobile was closed. The bakery was closed. The videos of what happened that morning started to circulate in WhatsApp chats and Facebook groups. I called the same members who had called me, who I knew lived near South Broad. And we came together and we split up to knock on doors with Know Your Rights materials and to invite community members to our centers. That's how you start. You just start. You set up a phone tree to check up on fellow Elizabeth members throughout the city, and we organized a town hall the following evening. More than 300 people attended with less than 20 hours notice. What we came to see, what we always come to learn, is that people are searching for community.
And we kept that way, shocked but organizing, organizing in shock, reminding ourselves that our liberation is not found in any administration, but in our collective efforts. When the outcome of our fight has never been more important, I can say that the union is strong if we remain strong. Every day, I choose to organize, and every day, hundreds of thousands of people across America choose the same. And together, even in the midst of so much violence, we will win. Trump is making cuts to healthcare to funnel billions to ICE to build concentration camps in our backyards. They're using commercial warehouses that have been converted into concentration camps with floor maps that look like slave ships. Concentration camps where they're holding children and adults who have been kidnapped, citizen or not, for the crime of being black or brown or poor or Palestinian. In Roxbury, New Jersey, in Social Circle, Georgia, in San Antonio, Texas, in Surprise, Arizona. All across the country, in all of our backyards, fascism is rampant. And we have to ask ourselves the question, who are the puppet masters? They are the billionaires standing behind Donald Trump, pulling the strings. And these billionaires, they have names. Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Elon Musk, and many more. Corporations like Palantir are beta testing their mass surveillance systems on immigrants, and they are helping the administration compile data on U.S. residents across every government agency, including the IRS and law enforcement. They won't stop until they build an algorithmic surveillance where they profit on all of us. In the face of such blatant greed and hatred, the American people couldn't be more clear. We want an economy that delivers for all of us and a country where we protect our neighbors. From Dilley to Delaney, we are prepared to dismantle ICE. This is not the path we chose to take, but if the only way out is through, then the only way through is together, as one people, fighting for the ones we don't know yet. Presidents can come and go, but we are here to stay.
And while we need to defund ICE, we need to deconstruct Homeland Security.
Okay. Amen. Let me get another round of applause for those queens. Deconstruct DHS. I think I could get down with that. If the funding runs out, I'm not sure it should come back. I realize Kash Patel needs to go to Italy on occasion for fun vacations to hang out with the hockey team on our dime. I realize that he likes to use the private jet and that deconstructing and defunding DHS would interrupt the fun that he's having on our dime. But I think it's worth it. Make him buy a regular ticket on an airline like the rest of us. Coming to the stage. Now, I want you all to say after me, all right? Say, okay. Say, you said that. Say, you did that. All right? Okay. You said that. Oh, I know you didn't say that. The next person that I'm bringing to the stage made that kind of call and response normalized in Congress. The greatest hype woman any member ever had. The woman who's going to let you know when you said it and let you know when you failed to say it. The lady who is standing up for the Epstein survivors like nobody else. Coming to the stage from the great state of California, California's Fighting 37 Representative Sydney Kamlager Dove. Give her a round of applause.
Give it up for Joy Reid, y'all. My hype women, how are you all tonight? It is a little cold. I am from Chicago, but it's still cold. So I don't know about you, but my mother has always told me, don't let nobody come up in your house and disrespect you. Now, unfortunately, I share my house with Speaker Johnson. Exactly. And he's got somebody up in my house disrespecting all of us. So I decided that I would hang out with my people, with the people, with all of us, the people who have been in the streets day after day, demanding better from our government. But in my stead, I sent a survivor, Jenna Lisa Jones, who at the age of 14 endured something that no child should have to. And she sent some words for me to share with you. As a survivor of the abuse and exploitation connected to Jeffrey Epstein, this invitation means far more to me than simply attending a historic address. It represents recognition that survivors' voices matter, that our experiences are not invisible, and that our resilience deserves to be seen and acknowledged in the very spaces where our nation's future is shaped. Moments like this remind me that we are not alone, that our stories have meaning, and that there are leaders who are willing to stand with us. I met and hung out with Jenna Lisa today. And as I listened to her, I was struck by the extraordinary courage that it takes as a survivor to show up and stand up and look your oppressor in the eye and say, I will not be silenced. But sadly, this is a kind of courage that our president doesn't have. So as Donald Trump delivers his address and sees Jenna Lisa and her fellow survivors in the audience, he will be reminded what true leadership looks like. And it is not measured by applause from sycophants. It is measured by whether or not you stand by your word to fight against injustice, or whether you want to shield the folks who should be held accountable. But enough about Trump. I'm so tired of talking about this small man who is not worth any of our time. Because this People's State of the Union is not about him. It's about us. And what is worth our time, our commitment, our work. And y'all, let me tell you, up until November and for the next couple of years, it will be a lot of work. But what is worth our time is the future that we want to build. Every single one of us wants an America as good as her promise. And each of our dreams are different. That's what makes diversity so amazing. But there are some fundamentals, y'all, that are just non-negotiable. We have to take on the corporations and the monopolies that are squeezing every dollar out of our pockets and making us poorer. We have got to lower the cost of healthcare and everyday necessities. Nobody should be forced to make a decision about if they're going to pay the rent or stay alive. We have got to make the dream of home ownership real. It is not if you try to dream and work to own a home that it costs you a future and limits your future instead of allowing you to build a future. And we have got to build an education system that opens the doors for all of our young people rather than shutting them down and burying them in student loan debt. And yes, we need an immigration system that lives up to the founding ideals of this country. Diversity is not the threat. It is the very source of who we are as a nation, y'all. And we have to empower our cities, our rural communities with the resources they need to solve 21st and 22nd century problems. And above all, we must, and if you don't know it by now, then you have not been paying attention, but we must save and protect and defend and make more righteous our democracy. Because without it, absolutely none of this is possible. This weekend, I was back home in California in my district, and I was talking to one of my constituents, May. And May said, I want to be able to trust my government again. I want elected officials who will be honest with me. I want to see courage. And real talk, y'all, we have a government that is working harder to harm us than help us. Real talk, we have a government right now where justice goes to the highest bidder and the lowest kneeler. And that is not what we signed up for, and that's not what we deserve. It is time. It is way time. It is past time in Black History Month and every other month of the year, y'all. It is time for the moral goodness of this country to match our economic might. For our leaders to put people over profits, compassion over cruelty, and equity over evil. This is our country. This is our moment. And just like Jenna Lisa said, we will not be silenced. The People's State of the Union starts tonight, and we're going to keep it going every day of the week through November and to the end of this man's term until we get the country that we deserve. Thank you so much.
Well done, well done. All right, all right, all right, all right. California love. Or maybe Crip walk up in here because I'm from that generation. Coming to the stage next from the great state of Massachusetts. How many of y'all want to see the Green New Deal? Okay, we like breathing. We like clean air, right? We like clean water. Green New Deal, we like it. Coming to the stage right now is the champion of the Green New Deal, a man who has fought for justice, for equality, and for a country we can actually breathe in. Give it up for Senator Ed Markey. He is going to be reading a story from Gladys Vega, the president and CEO of La Colaborativa in Chelsea, Massachusetts, which has been providing critical resources and support to Chelsea and the greater Boston region since the year of our Lord 1990 by empowering Latino individuals and families, promoting educational opportunity, advocating for social justice, and fostering economic empowerment. Give it up for Senator Ed Markey.
Wow. Joy Reid, what a job she is doing tonight. Just absolutely incredible, Joy. Thank you. And thank you all for being out here this evening. Tonight, I am not in the U.S. Capitol for Donald Trump's State of the Union address. I am here with you at the People's State of the Union because the State of the Union should be a moment of truth, a reckoning with reality, a commitment to the common good. But under Donald Trump, it has become a lies-a-palooza. that goes on for hours with him. If he was Pinocchio, his nose would stretch across the entire length of the floor of the Congress this evening.